Hello and welcome to our midweek episode this week where we're going to talk about Team Canada's hockey rosters, both men and women, for the upcoming Olympics in Beijing. That's coming up real soon here, actually. Okay, let's start with the women. Okay. I don't think we hardly ever start with the women, so let's start with the women real quick. Okay. The women roster, they haven't won gold in the Olympics since 2014, Sochi. They most recently won the World Championship, which halted a huge drought for them, and they won the Canada-US series that they had. They only played 5 of the 8 games because of COVID, but I think Canada goes into this tournament and they should be the favorites to win. I think Canadian women should win the gold in this Olympics. They have the momentum. I think so too. And they have stars, man. So they have their captain, Marie-Philippe Poulin. Phenomenal player. Oh my God, dude. She's going to go down as one of the greatest Canadians to ever play. I think the Wickenheisers and that kind of stuff are still number one. Yeah. And the Caroline Ouellette, I think is what her name was.
I think so, yeah.
But they've won 4 golds. I think they're going to be cemented as the greatest Canadian female Canadian hockey players of all time. But we have Marie-Philippe Poulin and Natalie Spooner, veterans, KG veterans that are going to be leading the attack. But we also have some young star, a young star, Sarah Fillier. Sarah Fillier was so good in that tournament, playing in the top line with, I believe it was Spooner and, I couldn't remember who, but Sarah Fillier is going to be a very good player. We've got Brianne Jenner who's playing, Emily Clark, Melody Daoust, who's another solid player. You have Emma Maltese, Sarah Nurse, who we know is cousin to Darnell Nurse.
Oh, I didn't know he had a...
So he has a cousin, Sarah Nurse, who plays hockey, and his sister is Kia Nurse that plays basketball professionally. Yes. Yeah, so that is a stupidly stacked family. My God. Right. His uncle's Donovan McNabb from the Eagles.
That I knew, and that's pretty cool.
Anyways, Jamie Lee Rattray, Jillian Saulnier, Natalie Spooner, Laura Stacey, and Blair Turnbull. That's their forward group. I know actually almost all these names. I think I just don't recognize one of them. But that's a solid group. They have 2 legitimate superstar scoring lines. A very Nurse is a center to a very strong checking, gritty defensive line. And the fourth line just go out and grinds and still get you goals, right? Their defense is one that I know a lot less of. Erin Ambrose, Ashton Bell, Renata Fask, Jocelyn Larocque, Ella Shelton, Claire Thompson, and Micah Zandy Hart. Now, I think they're missing one of their star defensewomen, and that's because she tore her ACL celebrating the World Championship victory. She jumped up, tore the ACL or something like that. So I think she's out. So that's super unfortunate.
That is super unfortunate.
Still a really good team. And then you have Kristen Campbell, Anne Renee Desbiens, and Emerence Maschermeyer. Very interesting name. But if I'm not mistaken, it is Kristen Campbell. This is her crease. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. But this team, the women should win the gold. I think they should be expected to win the gold. And I think this is the year where they break the curse of just constant losses in the Olympics. But they've always made it to the finals, if I'm not mistaken. It was silvers every year. But it'll be between Canada and the States. If we're going to be completely honest, it will be between Canada and the USA. And then hopefully they play against lesser teams like China. But really the women's hockey is just Canada-US. Except Finland one year made it to the final instead of Canada, I think it was. But Finland was pretty decent. But it's really just Canada against the States typically. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in this Olympic Games. But I think it's, if you're a gambler, you're gambling that you're betting that it's going to be Canada-US final, and it's not going to be a lot of money that you're going to make if you bet that, right? But
doesn't Sweden have a good team though?
They do. The women's hockey is getting a lot better across the world. It used to be 8-9 Canada against Sweden and Finland. Now it's closer, 3-1. 2-0. It's a lot closer games. Finland beat Canada in a big tournament recently too. It's they're coming closer, but realistically, Canada is still the better team. They should still be the better team than all of these other countries. Same with the States. It should honestly be Canada, US in the finals. And then moving Now, looking at the men's side, though, like, that's a little bit more open. Like, Canada's best players, genuinely, their A, B, C, D, E teams are all in the NHL right now. And then the goalie, like, Dubnyk might be, who we'll talk about in a second here, but Dubnyk might be on their F team. But they still have forwards in the NHL playing that are still going to be on the F team. You know what I mean? Like, this Olympic team that Canada will be sending to the Olympics is nowhere near the best that they can get. Nowhere close.
No, but
it's not even like their 5th or 6th best team, in my opinion. But
they'll
still be a good. Yeah. But they'll still be a team.
Decent team.
They should be able to medal. I think they still should be able to compete because, like, yeah, the other countries aren't going to send their best players either. Because Russia has like Ovechkin, Kucherov, they're all in the NHL. They won't be able to go play. But they still have a very good team that they'll be able to send because a lot of their players play in the KHL. So why don't you get us started with some big names that can compete in the Olympics for Canada?
Yeah, like names like Eric Stahl is one of them, which is...
I think he's pretty much confirmed that he will be playing for Team Canada because he has signed an AHL contract, only AHL, with Minnesota Wild's affiliate, the Iowa Wild, and that is to get into game shape to be able to go and represent Canada at the Olympics. So yeah, Eric Stahl will probably actually be the captain of the Canadian team.
And that's a pretty big addition to Team Canada.
He would be the only player on that team that has played in the Olympics for Canada before. He won gold in 2010.
That is right, yeah.
Yep. All right, who else?
Former Oiler, David Desharnais.
Yeah, also another former Oiler, David Desharnais, yeah. Devin Dubnyk was also a former Oiler, too.
I was going to get to there.
Sorry,
but
I thought we...
No, it's okay.
I talked
I'm
about
going
Dubnyk
for
earlier.
forward
You're
first.
Right.
And going
Desharnais would be a solid center. I think he would be like the checking third-line center on that team.
Yeah.
He is currently 3rd in points in the Swiss A-League. So, like, decent. And he's not an NHL caliber player anymore, but he is still a KG veteran who can provide a lot of good leadership on this team and a little bit of secondary scoring. Yeah, he's a good player.
And one that I was surprised that is projected to be on the team is another former Oiler, Ryan Spooner. I'm surprised about that one, but for the projections that I've seen, but
I mean, has NHL experience, played in big games. Yeah, I can see Spooner playing. Definitely.
Other notable names also. I guess he played for the Oilers, but he mostly played for their AHL team. Josh Curry. Yep. He's also in there. Projected.
Curry.
Josh Hosang is one player.
That's an interesting one. Yeah, there's a couple of interesting names like Cody Hodgson, Josh Hosang. Yeah. Heck, you can even throw Evander Kane in there. If he doesn't sign an NHL contract, Evander Kane will be at the Olympics. There's no question. There's no question. Like, he doesn't care about COVID, apparently. No. So, yeah. Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
There is one forward that you mentioned off the air that would be actually pretty sweet to add to Team Canada.
So, this list that we gave right now is of current veterans playing in professionals playing in different leagues. I think there will be 4 or 5 players from our junior team that can go. And I think Mason McTavish, Cole Perfetti are 2 of them. I think those are elite NHL players, elite juniors, but like NHL ready players now that can go and play. We'll talk about defense in a second, but I think that there is a legitimate chance that Connor Bedard goes. Connor Bedard is, sweet. I think he's 16.
Yeah.
But I think there's a legitimate chance that Connor Bedard can go and represent Canada. If you're talking about the 12 best or the 13 or 14 best forwards to go and represent Canada that aren't eligible to play, Connor Bedard has to be amongst that list right now. Oh yeah, he has no international experience like that, but he has an NHL ready shot already. He's not a tiny kid, but he's still a kid. Let's not even kid ourselves. I guess I'll open it up to you. Like, do you actually think Connor Bedard could make this team?
Honestly, if he is eligible to join the team, yeah. He would definitely be part of Team Canada.
He's more talented than Eric Stahl right now. Nothing against Stahl. Eric Stahl had an exceptional career. But Connor Bedard is a better hockey player right now than Eric Stahl is. If you want to bring the best possible team to represent Canada at the Olympics and try to win a gold medal, I think Connor Bedard has to be on that list. McTavish has to be on that list. Perfetti has to be on that list. Heck, even like a Dylan Gunther or Jake Neighbors. You know what I mean? Like, I think half of the team needs to be juniors and half of the team needs to be like big names like that. Because I don't think like the Corey Conakers, the Eric Fairs, the Desharnais, I don't think any of these guys are better than these juniors are right now. And these are NHL ready world or juniors players. So hopefully the juniors are going to allow them to go and play. But I genuinely think that there's probably going to be 5 forwards and 2 defensemen, at least, maybe even 3 defensemen playing for Canada that are junior eligible. 2 for sure. So let's move on to the list, and I guess I'll start with my list for defense now. My 2 juniors that I think should be at the Olympics, Owen Power. He's had an unreal start to the World Juniors.
Oh, definitely.
Unreal start to that, I think. And he's an NHL-ready defenseman right now. And Caden Goalie. I think Caden Goalie could be a solid third-pair defenseman on the Olympic roster and still give you good 12 to 16 minutes of and play against the top opposition in the world. And if I were the Canadians for Goalie and if I were the Sabres for Owen Power, oh man, I would really want them to go to the Olympics. Like, they're not going to play for this team this year anyways.
No.
It's not going to affect them this year.
Maybe not even next year. Depending.
Yeah, maybe not even next year. Absolutely right. But the experience that they would gain in this tournament, night and day. Oh my god!
And they didn't have their World Juniors, so like going to the Olympics if they're eligible. Yeah, like you said, night and day experience for them.
And see, we didn't mention like the Shane Wrights of the world or like the other players that could have potentially, because genuinely, the Olympics is a different beast, and the guys that we're currently talking about right now. The guys that we're currently talking about right now for the Olympic team, I think these are NHL ready players, and this is why I think Connor Bedard is too small, but he has such an elite talent that I think Canada will make an exception in sending him there. But like Shane Wright, I don't think he's NHL ready right now, but like he's still a heck of a player. But you know what I mean? Like, you got to find that balance. But this is why I think like 4 or 5 forwards are junior eligible that are going to be sent for sure, I think. And if I'm the teams that drafted them, I would really want them to go. So yeah, Owen Power and Caden Gooley are my 2 defensive picks. Who else is available that might be able to go?
For defense, guys like Jason Demers.
Mm-hmm.
He had a really good NHL career and definitely would be a good addition to Team Canada for the Olympics. Brandon Gormley.
Yeah, he was a highly touted prospect. Yes. Yeah, and playing in the KHL right now and doing really well. Yep. I think the weakness of this team would be the defense and goaltending. Or the forward, they can put a good enough forward group.
I don't know. Like, let's go to the goaltending now. Like Devin Dubnyk. Yeah, like he hasn't, like the last years or so in the NHL weren't the greatest for him, but he's still like pretty decent goalie, and to play, I guess, with not like an NHL caliber like Olympic team, like he could still have a chance to play really well in the Olympics. Justin Pogge is a really good.
Yeah, he's another really good option. You're right.
Edward Pascal.
Eddie Pascal, that's another good option. And this is where it's tough, because I think for goaltending you need like a veteran that's played games in a big level, international and everything. This is why I don't think like what was the junior goalie that went?
Dubnyk has played in the Spangler Cup, so that's kind of
and Dubnyk has represented Canada at World Championships. Yeah, and Devin Dubnyk has had a really solid career and is a good goaltender. Let's not take that away. Yeah. I don't think he's an NHL goaltender anymore, and that's the thing. Like, we don't have many Canadian goalies that are playing right now outside of the NHL, and that's where the issue lies, right? And like we can look at the juniors. We have 2 unreal goalies in the juniors right now, and Sebastian Cossa and I can't remember the kid's name for the life of me, but he was the starter for Canada at the World Juniors. But I don't think they would make the team because goalie is a different beast, you know. So listen, if I were the Montreal Canadiens, Buffalo Sabres, Anaheim Ducks, and the Winnipeg Jets, I would say
if like, let's say Sebastian Cossa is eligible, I would, if I were Detroit, I would let him go.
Like, 100%.
He's not like NHL ready for like the next couple years.
If I were an NHL organization, I would let these guys go. I would let them go because you know what? Maybe they do. If the issue is, what if they pick up an injury? Okay, first off, none of these guys are going to play in the NHL this year. None. And that gives you already, if the season starts in September, that gives you 6-7 months of recovery if they do pick up an injury. And if it's a big injury, then yeah, they have one in September. They'll be able to come back and play. You know what I mean? Like, I that's
like they'd be ready for training camp.
Exactly. Yeah. That's where the issue is for these guys. Like, remember when Donovan Hasek got injured in the Olympics, and it was the downfall for the Ottawa Senators that year in 2006. They were one of the favorites to win the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Carolina ended up beating them. Buffalo beat them, and then Carolina beat Buffalo, or whatever the heck it was. But Donovan Hasek's injury was what made the Ottawa Senators miss out. And this is why Eugene Melnyk will never want any of his players to go to the Olympics, because he knows that's what happened before. Yeah. But then that was a direct impact to the NHL. Any of these kids, God forbid they get injured in the Olympics, it's not going to affect their NHL teams. The junior teams might not want them to go because it might affect them completely there. But like the NHL teams are going to want them to go, in my opinion. You'd have to think. This is international experience.
And I guess that made sense for the players that you picked that are from the juniors, because they're already drafted in the NHL.
Yeah.
So it's not going to affect their draft position since they've already been drafted.
Exactly.
So that makes sense.
It's not going to affect Connor Bedard's draft position. Let's be completely honest.
Next year's too.
Yeah.
So
I really want Connor Bedard to make it, man. That would be such incredible television. Could you imagine if Bedard makes it and then the Russian kid also makes it?
Oh, what's his name? Mikhaev, I think.
Yeah,
I think it's like Mikhaev or something. Yeah,
it's him. Yeah, could you imagine?
Oh, that'd be sweet.
The battle of the 16-year-olds.
I'm guessing Russia would probably.
Oh, he probably makes it.
Team,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
And you know Kovalchuk, who's still playing, was probably. Can you imagine Jaromir Jagr playing? Oh my god!
Just seeing Jaromir Jagr play, Kovalchuk play, Eric Stahl play.
It's like NHL 2003,
right? Oh, that'd be actually pretty sweet.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, man. Anyways, I think that's really it for this. Hey, just previewing the rosters. I mean, it's not an NHL roster, but this team, I think, realistically can compete for at least a bronze.
I can see that.
This was probably going to be the second best team in the Olympics. Russia has to be the favorite.
Russia should be the favorite, yeah.
Yeah. Russia has to be the favorite. There's no question. But after that, yeah, I think that's definitely
anyone's game.
It's anyone's game.
Yeah.
So, if last year, the last Olympics, Germany finished in second place, got silver. So that was a nice little Cinderella story. But anyway, thank you everybody for listening to our midweek episode this week. Tune in next week, I guess, where we're going to give you Can-Ass Podcast episode number 16. We'll give you
Sweet 16.
Sweet 16. We'll give you a bit of a recap on the Australian Open, probably a golf tournament. It's happening next week as well. And some more soccer, and then, some more hockey. So, thank you everybody for listening, and we'll see you later next week.